Hi everybody, I'm so sorry we can't be there in person to have photo class, but with the lesson that I sent, I thought I would do a little video to give you some ideas for your individualized lesson programs on what we're going to do. I have my big handy dandy camera here that I know you've all seen when we've done work in class. Many of you don't have a camera like this. Don't worry about it. Use your cell phone, use the point and shoot, whatever you want to do. But Ron and Charlie and anyone else who might have a bigger camera with a lens, if you have the lens that is the 70 to 200 zoom, this will give you social distancing without problem because you'll be able to stay further away. I'm not going to use this for demonstration purposes. I'm just going to stick with my regular lens. So without further ado, let's go outside and see how we can get this lesson started. One object, many views. That willow oak tree is iconic, and unfortunately I don't have a willow oak tree in my neighborhood, so I'm going to use my neighbor's cherry tree as an example, and it's also kind of photogenic too. So one of the first things we want to do is maybe get the tree in totality. I'm going to zoom out and get the whole tree, but if you have your phone, just back up. That's all you have to do. It's not a big deal. Then the other parts that are interesting are what parts of the whole can I look at to get a cool photo. So maybe I'm going to walk up and get just some of the blossoms. And again, if I'm looking straight up, I'm going to get a different view than if I come closer to eye level. Don't want to freak anybody out and photograph into their windows here. But come closer to eye level and just try to get a few blossoms that might be hanging down. If you have your camera, don't be afraid to shoot vertical. That's always a good idea too. And try to get parts of the whole. Then there's always the unsung heroes of the tree, the bark. Cool texture on trees with bark, and this one is no exception. So I'm just going to zoom in, capture a few of those things as well. So the idea when you're doing one object, many views is look up, look down, zoom out, zoom in, try to change your lighting and where you're standing. Don't be afraid of backlight. In this case, a silhouette might be pretty interesting, especially if the tree doesn't have a lot of leaves on it yet. So that's how you handle the lesson on one object, many views. All right, so we all know that we have to keep our 6-foot social distance, and some of you are going to be using your iPhones, which is fine because we can close crop in Photoshop as we've learned in class, and I can certainly help you with that if you're going to go into the photo room one at a time later. So I happen to run into a neighbor, like you'll be running into your friends at Vinson Hall, and since we're doing this at 2 o'clock and the sun is going to be just about as overhead as it is now, you want to make sure you move around if the person's busy, so that you're at least getting half lighting. And you can see right here we've got great Rembrandt lighting, and I'm going to maintain my distance and just zoom in and get my portrait taken in a couple different ways. So you can just try to play around with it, maybe full body, half shot. The idea is not to worry the person with the photo and not to be intrusive. A lot of folks at Vinson Hall have pets, and pets are great for trying to get pictures. Not so great for social distancing, but that's okay. So here we have Zoe, and Zoe, hi baby. I was about to see the puppy, like I said. So they're now really might not have their social distance, but we can try to get some pictures of the pets. There you go. Don't be afraid to take several. Pets can sometimes get a little skittish, so you might want to stay further away and capture them once they're relaxed. And that's how you can handle the outside portraits, keeping at a safe social distance. So the lesson for the little things that count can be inside and outside. So I'm going to do both. And do not hate on my house because it's just been a long couple of weeks for all of us. Anyway, and also outside, the long guys have not come yet. They're coming this week, but it rained last Wednesday. So yes, onion grass is my new best friend. Right now, what I'm going to talk about is looking for little things that might make a cool picture. These little bluebells that are growing as almost wildflowers, maybe getting really close. This is where your cell phones are awesome for these kind of projects, or your point and shoots, because they're going to keep everything in focus pretty much right down to the middle. So I'm just going to zoom in here, get a couple pictures, of the little things with that. You know, even dandelions, if you find some around. I know at Vinson Hall, when I was up there last week, there are some little wildflowers blooming outside in the garden areas, and that might be a fun place to walk around and look for things too. Or just things that are in transition, trees that are budding and maybe just one bud. Or, let's see what I can find here. Oh, here we are. Just like a little leaf within a tree. And if you get close enough, even your phone's gonna blur out the background. So you don't have to worry about everything being in focus. I know there's forsythia all over the place right now, and it's really vibrant. It's supposed to be nice the next couple of days, actually a little cloudier, so you might actually get better saturated color than I'm going to get here. But as far as looking for the little things, again, texture, where there might be some cool little buds that are fully bloomed versus some that are partial, just to try to get the whole idea of the color, even things that are further away. Now I can zoom out and get some depth, but feel free with your camera on your phone to just get close up. Try a couple of different things. You know, if you want to get real creative, you can try to get into the bush and shoot like you're stuck in the middle of the forsythia bush. I mean, don't really get in the middle of the forsythia bush. Anyway, let's check out some stuff inside and see how that'll work. Okay, welcome to my home. So anyway, some of the little things that you can do inside for It's the Little Things. If you have an arrangement of flowers or plants, I'm not good at growing plants, but I did get some flowers from my daughter. So again, I could photograph these, trying to get different angles and things like that. And again, remember in Photoshop, we can get rid of the background. So if I don't want that wiener dog pillow with my flowers, I can Photoshop it out, no problem. So the other thing about It's the Little Things, and I was thinking, this is probably going to be one of the most challenging holidays for anyone observing religious activities, Passover, Easter, and not being able to celebrate with family. I collect bunnies. Drives my daughters crazy, drives everybody crazy that comes in my house. But I always like the Easter bunnies. I put them out because I was hopeful that we would be able to visit by Easter, but that's not the case. However, if you have any decorations for Easter and want to take photos of them, we're going to be showing these over this TV at Vinson Hall. And I think it would really lift the spirits of a lot of people to see things that remind them of spring and renewal and, you know, Easter, whatever they might be thinking, because these are challenging times and we want to kind of make everybody feel a little bit better. So I might decide to go to my layer of bunnies on the mantle and do a panoramic shot. You can do that with your phone. I'll do it with my camera by just standing still in the middle and go left, go middle, go right. Keep your elbows down into your side and keep your camera level. And we can put these all together in a panoramic picture in Photoshop. If you have a phone that does panoramic, just use that. Save some time and it'll look just as good. Then I can also try to arrange some of these things maybe individually as portraits. Let's see. One of my favorite ones is this kind of weird bunny that has all kinds of decorations on it. I mean, nothing says spring like a flower Art Deco-y bunny. So I'm just gonna zoom in on the bunny and try to get his picture almost like he was an animate object rather than inanimate. But play around with it, see what you have. If you don't have bunnies and you're not celebrating Easter, a llama could do, or whatever else you might happen to have around the house that's small little things. So that's how to photograph It's the Little Things. I hope you have fun with that assignment. The last assignment, and this is for Joe in the beginning class, is, so if you're in the advanced class, you don't have this assignment unless you want to swap out, but it was reflections. And reflection can be literal or figurative. We could think about a reflection as something that actually reflects, like a mirror shot, or it can be internal mental reflections, things that mean something to us that we would like to preserve as a memory. So a literal reflection would be something like this mirror. I have a little wall mount mirror here. Now, if I stand right in front of it, we're gonna get me in the shot. And I don't like to be in the shots. So standing at an angle away from it, I can still get a reflection of my mantle, but also the painting I have that I did way back when my daughters were much younger and they were at a pumpkin patch. So I wanted to include that in that reflection. So I kind of hit both figurative and literal. I have a reflection in a mirror, but I'm also using a mental reflection of my daughters from days gone by. So that's one way to do this. Another one might be to take a picture of family photographs. Of course, I happen to have some here. So even though I have bunnies in the middle, I have some drawings that I've done of my daughters and then my grandkids. So maybe I'm going to take a picture of some of those photographs that I have around the house as a reflection. You can find other stuff. I'm not going to photograph this, but this was, a metronome that my grandmother used when she was playing piano that means a lot to me. So you can find little objects you have around the house that are important and try to photograph them to give them an isolated sense of importance. So, oh, my favorite one here is my grandmother's stuff. She had a cousin that went to, he was in the armed services and brought back a camel bell. So that's always fun if you have stuff like that. If you have things at your house that maybe your children or spouse made, anything that might have some sort of meaning to you. So these are the photo assignments, the first that we're going to start working on. We're going to start uploading them, getting them up on the screen at Vinson Hall, and hopefully we'll make life just a little bit better for everyone that can enjoy viewing them. And hopefully you've enjoyed having some time out and getting back in the swing of creativity. Thanks again for your patience with all of this. I look forward to seeing everyone in real life as soon as possible.